Good morning, everybody that's tuned in at the moment. We'll be starting shortly, just doing a quick audio test, and we'll be with you in a minute. Right, all sorted. So, good morning, everybody that's tuned in. It's James here from the West Midlands Regional Cybercrime Unit. We've started a new series today around can you spot the phishing email. We've done some presentations previously around cybersecurity awareness and what things you need to be looking out for. And by far, one of the main things that we need to look out for are phishing emails. Over 90% of the attacks that we see start with phishing. So one of the biggest issues that we have is that phishing emails are getting a lot more sophisticated now. So we can all probably spot a really, really rubbish phishing email. Quite often they're not designed for us, they're just sent out on mass. If somebody's going to take a little bit more time, just take a few minutes, they're going to do something called spear phishing now. So with spear phishing, it's designed to make you click on a link or attachment, or generally it's designed to make you do something. Tone of the emails will be very rushed. The issue that we've got is that we all have a million emails to sort out on a daily basis, and when we're sifting through and rushing through, it's very hard to spot a malicious one. To the email, and you'll see the fallout of just by clicking on other attachments.
How did you decide to become a hacker?
Well, I'm not really sure what it means to become a hacker. That's like some guy in a hoodie who types really fast and stays up all night writing code and cracking passwords. It's not me. I just spy on people and see what makes them click. It's not a bad job.
Mark Hanning, CEO of Qualicard, set to report earnings after their blockbuster IPO. So you consider this a job?
I put a lot of work into this. I'm not lazy. It takes research to figure out the key players and learn all about them, their families, their friends, what they care about. You have to understand the company's organization. I get a lot of my information from the sales department because they're always so quick and eager. They're hungry. People trust too easily. They don't look at the details. I do. Details matter. That's what I'm good at. It has to look completely believable. It has to look familiar. This is where research is important. It's not some generic piece of spam. It's an email from their boss with their company's signature. It's written in the voice of the boss. It's what he would say if he were writing this.
What about the malware itself? How does that work?
Somebody else out there already wrote all the code that does the actual attack. I'm just using it in the attachment. My skill is in my ability to get a bunch of people to click on that attachment. I always wonder what it's like when the whole thing unfolds on their end. When the panic sets in.
Please leave your message after the beep.
Hey, this is Rajiv in finance. Call me as soon as you get this. Something's up with my laptop. Katie, are you on your way to the office? Something's going on with our file servers.
Karen in HR, our benefits dashboard's being really slow. We're getting calls from users on it. You can always get this. Joining conference now.
Apparently, there's a malware attack targeting our main...
It's ransomware. They're holding us hostage. We're locked out of everything. I can't even check my phone. What about the backup?
That will take days.
We need this fixed now. Just pay it. We don't have a choice. We're reporting earnings in 2 hours.
But how do we know that
Just
they'll...
pay it. Put every single person on getting us back up and running. That's the only priority now. Okay, it's done. I have the decrypt key. Mark, we have a big problem. The ransomware was just to distract us. They got inside. They got everything. Customer data, financials, everything.
Qualicart is reeling today from the news that hackers have released the personal information of nearly
The
2
Nasdaq
million
closed
customers.
lower today, led by Qualicart, which was down 14% on news that their recent data breach may be far worse than the company
Its stock
originally
fell to
acknowledged.
a new all-time low on news that CEO Mark Hanning is stepping down after what is turning out to be one of the worst breaches of personal information in recent history.
Do you feel bad about releasing the personal information? All the financials? All the money that was lost?
All I did was get the files. I'm not the one that decided to release them. I'm not the one that shorted the stock. Somebody else had their reasons for that. It's above my pay grade. I was paid to do a job, and I did it well. And that's what's expected of anyone, isn't it? Anyway, markets bounce back.
So as you can see in that example there, it is very much organised crime. So we work for the Regional Cybercrime Unit, which is part of the Regional Organised Crime Unit. It's getting a lot more sophisticated now. It's getting harder and harder to spot. As you can see the motive there, were they after the data? Do they want to sell that data on? Or do they just want to cause disruption to the business? That is by far one of the most common things that we're seeing targeted at businesses across the UK at the moment. So if we run through quickly what happened there, and you'll see exactly what was going on. So quite often what criminals will do with a spear phishing attack is they'll just do a little bit of open source research on an individual. As you can see here, they were going to impersonate the CEO. For businesses, it's quite good to make sure that your CEO or your leadership team or you as an organisation are doing good things. You want to be on social media, capturing customers and clients. But be wary with that of just how much information is out there. So a quick look online will show the social media presence and the interests of the CEO. Work within a sales department, have the sales or team information on our website. It's very easy then for a criminal to see how the email is constructed. So in that example there, it was letter of the first name, full stop, and the surname at qualicart.com. They found that out from the website. What the criminals will then do is go and make sure that their email that they're going to send is possible. So they've just changed the I to an L. It's very easy for them to just go and register that domain. They've then just created a fake email account that looks identical, so it's then m.hanning@qualcart.com. Team, they've got an idea of the email signature. So your email signature is quite often what you'll look to prove the authenticity of that email. If the signatures match, it's even harder to spot. As you can see there, they just copied and pasted the existing sales signature and then just replaced it with their own. Tone of the emails, very rarely will there be spelling and grammar mistakes in there. They're going to spend that extra time to make sure that it looks right, it feels right, and it sounds right. You saw in that example, it's written in the voice of the boss. They're simply going to upload what just appears to be a PDF document. It could just be an image, it could be anything. It's designed to make you click. If somebody within your organisation sent an email on saying there's been some damage to my car, please take a look. If you've seen this damage, please get in touch with me. How many of us just would be nosy and click that attachment to see the damage in the car park? Or if it was something similar, somebody saying I found a wallet, how many of us would click that attachment and open it? So very, very sophisticated, but also very, very simple. The malware is then attached to that. So would you spot those emails? That's the question. There is a way for you to be able to check and test that. Apologies for the phone going off in the background. So you want to find out if you're able to spot those phishing emails. So luckily for us, there is a service that's been created by Jigsaw, which is part of Google. So Jigsaw are part of their tech team. So Google on a daily basis seeing anywhere from 18 to 30 million phishing emails come through. Those are the phishing emails that they manage to quarantine because they're marked as spam and malicious. But you've got to imagine how many other email service providers are being used by the criminals. So those are the figures just for Google. So what Google have done is taken those examples that they're seeing, and then they've created some phishing emails to test to see if you can spot them. So you go to phishing quiz full stop with Google full stop com. So phishing quiz with Google online would allow you to see it very easily. You then just need to make up a name and an email address. Now when you do this, just make it up. Don't use your real details. You can put anything in there at all. It's not going to send any information to you. It's just going to be completely web-based. So as you can see there, I've just said not my real name. And I've just made up an email address. So after I've put that information in, it's then going to show me some emails. I've then got to work out whether they are phishing or legitimate. So the first example there are 8 questions in this. The link to this is in the video description. We won't go through all 8. We'll just go through 3 at the moment. Hopefully you're going to identify them all as phishing. They are quite sophisticated though. So with this first example, it says it's from Luke Johnson. So his email address is quite often what people will have. It was very rare that somebody will have luke.johnson@gmail.com. So he's got luke.json8000.com. However, as you can see there, quite often emails that are received will have links in them, or they'll have buttons to open up other pages. Due to the nature of emails, quite often there's a 30 megabyte limit on emails being sent. So if you've got a big file that exceeds the limit for your email server, you'll be using services like Google Docs. You might be using things like Dropbox or WeTransfer. So to get access to that file, you've also got to click that link or click that button. So in an email, ideally, you shouldn't be clicking links or buttons, but unfortunately, to do your job or open bigger files, you're going to have to. So how do you know if it's malicious or not? So if you hover over that link in the email or over that button, as you can see down there in the bottom left, it's going to HTTP and then it's drive-google.com. So unfortunately, that link is a fake link. The initial alarm bell should be that it's not HTTPS at the start, so it's not secure, but also it's going to drive-google.com. So nothing to do with Google, been registered by the criminals for very, very cheaply to make it look like it's going to Google Drive. In reality, there might be a subdomain which is drive.google.com, but the criminals have put -- instead. If you were rushing through your emails and you were expecting to see your departmental budget email come through, what is the likelihood of you actually clicking that email and actually clicking that attachment if you're in a rush? Maybe quite likely. So if you are having to click links or buttons within emails, make sure you hover over them first and see where they're going. Next example here, saying you've received a fax. So it's come from fax message, no reply. Quite often now, emails that get sent from businesses come from a no reply at email address, just simply stipulating that you can't reply to that email. As you can see there though, rather than spelling fax as FAX, they've spelt it FACKS.com in the sender information. And then also there's a link in there as well. So if you hover over that link, it's going to go to HTTP again, so first alarm bell, not HTTPS, but also it's going to efax.hosting.com.mailru382.co. So it's not actually going to efax.com. As you can see down at the very bottom, it says, thank you for using the service. Please visit efax, spelled correctly, .com/help. So that's the real link down at the bottom. What they've done there is use an email forwarding service to manipulate it to look like it's going to eFax. In reality, they've just, again, gone online and registered that domain name to make it look as sophisticated and as close to the real one as possible. Next example, it says you've received a new kind of report from the school. So usually the emails come from sharon.mosley@westmountschool.org. So in this sense, this is quite often something that if you're a parent, you'll be receiving emails from the school, or if you work within a school environment, you'll be receiving these kind of emails. As you can see, what looks to just be a PDF attachment down the bottom. Now, is there anything malicious attached to that PDF? So what we need to do in this instance, again, is first check the sender information. So as you can see there, it's come from sharon.mosley@westmountdayschool.org. Good day. Obviously, it says not my real name, as that's what I put in. Please find attached the financial activity report as perusal. Thanks and regards, Sharon Mosley, Westmount Day School. So what they've done there is in the email signature, they've said it's Westmount Day School. As you can see up here, it's not Westmount Day School, it's just westmountschool.org. Because they put Westmount Day School in the signature, they're hoping that if you checked the sender information, you're not going to notice that the email address extension is westmountdayschool.org as well. So all they've done is add the word day in between Westmount and school. They've used the signature again as a convincer, and there will be something malicious attached to that email address. So again, another phishing email. There's 5 more ones to check out. Hopefully you're going to be able to spot them, but really some really good examples to see if you can spot them. A lot of people that do this don't score 100%, so it's really worth doing. Like I said, links to that will be in the description. So for further support and advice, everything that you need to know around cybersecurity as an individual or a business is available on the National Cybersecurity Centre website. So as you can see there, information for and advice and guidance, all free to access, simple to understand. From an individual perspective and what you can be doing around the top tips, there is now 6 top tips that have been released by CyberAware. That was released this year, really just demystifying what you need to be doing as an end user and how to protect yourself online. As an organisation, they also have a 20-minute e-learning package that talks around cybersecurity training for staff. Use it with new starters, but also use it as a refresher for people, whether they're joining the business or whether they've been in the business a while. There is a 20-minute e-learning package, again, available for the National Cybersecurity Centre. Link to that will also be in the description. So if you want to know how your organisation would cope during a phishing attack, as well as doing that phishing quiz with Google, you can also run an exercise to see how your business would react. So there is a platform called Exercise in a Box, again created by the National Cybersecurity Centre. The idea being is to run an exercise to see how you would cope. So the first example that is on there around a discussion-based exercise is a phishing attack that leads to a ransomware infection. It will tell you what you need, how long you need to spend on it, which employees that you'll need. It will show an example phishing email. Hopefully you're going to spot that one now. The example there, they've used example.com, they've changed the L to number 1. But it really talks around what mechanisms do you have in place to make it difficult for those attackers to reach. So if we link back to that video, obviously everybody's email address in terms of employees was just on the website. So it was very easy for attackers to reach users. What support is offered to help them identify that the above email is a phishing attack? So have you as staff gone through the CyberAware and the toolkit for staff and the online training? If the user identified this email as suspicious, what would they have done? So would your staff members, or would you just delete that email? Or would you alert other staff members around it? Do you forward it to your IT provider? What's your policy in place if you identify that phishing email? And then lastly, if that phishing email was clicked, and unfortunately it's not a case of if it gets clicked, but it is when it gets clicked, what's your response? What happens? So it will really run you through an attack. Multiple injects, talking about if that attack did take place, it runs you through the steps. You also score yourself to see how you're doing. It'll gently identify areas within the organisation that need a little extra support, that need a little extra work. Again, free to access, link to it is in the description as well. It will run it through and say that somebody did click the email and you've resulted in a ransomware infection. Hopefully you're going to make sure you've got the protection in place to stop that happening. However, if it does happen, it does run you through that entire scenario. And then lastly, if you do spot that phishing email now as part of your policy, you can report it through to the National Cybersecurity Centre. So this year they launched the Suspicious Email Reporting Service, which has been designed to take down the malicious software or the malicious accounts that the criminals are using. So if you do spot the phishing email, before you delete it, you can simply forward it to report@phishing.gov.uk. As soon as we receive it, it's then looked at. I think the quickest takedown time was less than a second when they were imitating some form of HMRC or government-backed website. If they're targeting you personally as an organisation and they're imitating your CEO or somebody within the business, the quicker that you report this, the quicker we can take down the service the criminals are using. So if you as an individual have clocked that phishing email, don't assume that everybody else within the organisation has as well. The quicker you report it, the quicker we can take it down, the quicker that you can protect the entire organisation. So links to everything will be down in the video description. These sessions will be happening on Fridays at the moment. We are in the process of creating some toolkits for organisations to test how their employees would do. So as well as the phishing quiz with Google, we are also going to be creating a tool which is an image that comes up saying that you've been phished, and a URL link as well that you are able to use within your organisation to see what your click-through rate is like, to see exactly how many of your staff would click those phishing emails. It needs to be done as a learning exercise though, and not staff punished as a result of it, and make sure that that training is taking place. That will be coming very shortly. On Mondays, we're also going to be running Are You Prepared for an Attack, which talks around that exercise in a box in a little bit more detail, and to see how your organisation can get prepared, again, with all that free advice from the National Cyber Security Centre. Please make sure that you subscribe to stay up to date on the latest videos that we'll be releasing. And thank you for tuning in today. It's been James from the West Midlands Regional Organised Crime Unit.